What can you tell us about the meeting?
Well, I can tell you I got a readout on the meeting for someone who is familiar with what was discussed inside. Three major topics: jobs, immigration, and China were discussed. I was told that the discussions were friendly, that they covered a lot of ground, and that they'd be described as productive. A few sub-areas were discussed. Security was one of them. I tried to get a sense of whether encryption in particular was one of the topics because, you know, from Apple as well as other companies, Facebook in particular, there have been some pressures around whether the federal government was going to have access to communication within iMessage or within WhatsApp or now within Facebook Messenger, which has end-to-end strong encryption. I couldn't get a clear sense of whether encryption specifically came up, but security did, certainly in the context of China. Also, vocational education, which presumably would have to do with some of those areas in Middle America. They're not in the big cities, not in the areas like Silicon Valley, Seattle, New York, that are seen as tech hubs. How might technology companies be able to help there? Also, repatriation did come up as a subtopic, bringing some of those overseas profits back to the U.S. at a lower tax rate, perhaps, tax holiday of some sort, perhaps, than is usually the case, and has kept some of those profits offshore. Regulation was also a topic of discussion. So got a bit of that read into the meeting. However, the CEOs, as they were coming out, none of them stopped in the lobby itself. They hurried out the doors. I did manage to follow Larry Page and Eric Schmidt of Google out the door, said, "Good meeting," and Eric Schmidt just sort of half looked at me, and I said, "You don't want to say anything?" And he said, "No, thanks," but was able to get some sense of what went on inside there. Kelly?
John, we appreciate you chasing them down for us. It's interesting when you talk about the main issues there, jobs, immigration, and China. Jobs, is that an innovation type discussion? I mean, was it about keeping jobs in America? Any further color on what about jobs?
No, I didn't get much drill down there, but I think it is interesting that vocational education was also a subtopic of discussion within there. So we know Ginny Rometty of IBM had said in an op-ed yesterday that IBM is looking to add 25,000 jobs within the next few years, with maybe about a fifth of those coming in this next year. So jobs both at the top end and at the lower end are important. Immigration came up. You would expect that to be skilled immigration, which is an area that a number of Silicon Valleys have pushed on, wanting perhaps a lift on the H-1B caps, which is something from the campaign rhetoric it doesn't seem Trump would be looking to do. But, you know, things are different now. He's the president-elect. You never know.
Yeah, John, real quick on that repatriation issue, anything there? I mean, that's obviously the biggest near-term one investors are watching.
Yeah, I don't have any more detail on that, but that is, I mean, we're talking hundreds of billions of dollars that these companies have overseas. We'll see what comes of that.